Dagda agus tá fáilte ógus mis an Kelly Beag. Hello and you're very welcome. I'm the little storyteller and it is Patron Insider Day. And we've hit the first of the month and it is time for a new story. So a new words written for both the close and the committed club members. So it's available on the Patreon now, so you will be able to go over and pick it up. And it's called The Brew of Boann. And it's my kind of exploration of the why Angus MacOg, the young son of the Dagda, and the Boann, the goddess of the river Boyne, um, took possession of Bruna Boyne, or the brew on the Boyne, or as I'm calling it, the Brew of Boann. The version of the literature, because there's many different recensions of the ancient Irish folklore. So the source for this story is from the story, The Wooing of a Taun, which comes from the Yellow Book of Lecan. So all of these books, like the Book of Leinster, the Book of Fermoy, the Yellow Book of Lecan, are tomes that were written down by early Christian monks in all of these various monasteries. Most of them dating from about the 11th century, but the language in it like comes from the 9th century, and it's almost like they recopied the content to make sure they could preserve the books as the books aged. But even then, we do know that the lore, the information, the mythology was actually coming from much, much older sources. Because even the 9th century text or copies from 9th century texts refer to language and older Irish versions of language, which really kind of highlight the age of these kind of tales. So in The Wooing of a Taun, it deals with the whole cycle of Angus MacOg, from everything from his conception and birth within one day, right the way through to him taking possession of Bruna Boyne, and then also what happens after that with his relationship with his half brother Midder, as he tries to, find a new wife for Midder and the wrangling of that. So it's actually the half brother Midder who kind of goes on his behest to the Dagda at Uisneach, where the Dagda, when he took over the ruling of Ireland, when he was king in Ireland, says he was king in Ireland for 80 years. He didn't rule from Tara, which is kind of surprising. Like, he actually ruled from Uisneach, and Uisneach is still a place in Ireland, and it is said to be the heart of Ireland because everywhere is equidistant from Uisneach. In fact, there's a stone on Uisneach known as the Cat Stone, which is supposed to be the very center of everywhere. If you kind of take measurements from there to each of the coasts in all the directions, you'll get like the same measurement. So I don't know how that is because Ireland seems to be more rectangular, but this is what we have, and this is the information we have. But it's interesting because we know that Tara, also known as Rathbresh, the stories that we have from that is that Dagda built that. It was he who dug the trenches during Bresh's rulership, when he was under oppression to the half Fomorian king. So it's not surprising, really, that he wouldn't choose to rule Ireland from there. But it's very insightful that he chose the place known as the heart of Ireland to be very in the middle of almost everything. Um, so it's the story covers a dialogue between Midder coming to Dagda saying, listen, Angus is of an age now, he kind of is looking for recognition and some land of himself. And then it's how they kind of come to the conversation that leads to the change of power from Elkmar moving out of the Bruna Boyne, or the Brew of Boann, and Angus taking ownership. So I do hope you enjoyed the story. And once again, thank you very much to all of my patrons for supporting this work that I do. I'm very, very grateful to be able to keep bringing out these expressions of the ancient Irish lore and to dive into the why. We have the stories, but as we know from the ancient Irish bardic tradition, there's always the moral of the story. There's always the why. And that's the thing I love kind of chasing out and exploring. So I do hope you enjoyed the story. Thank you very, very much for all of your support. Gurav Mahagas and Slán. Bye.